Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like, share and comment after watching the video. Thank you. Let's go. Story number 1. Am I wrong for not giving my girlfriend 25-year-old my dinner after I had already bought her dinner? My girlfriend 25-year-old and I 29-year-old live in NYC, and there's a popular app where you buy leftover restaurant food. Restaurants advertise surprise bags at a reduced price in order to reduce food waste. The customer doesn't know what they're getting until they pick the food up, but the cost at least 3x lower than the normal menu price. E.g., if an entree is usually $24, the restaurant is allowed to charge $8 at most for it. These are hit or miss sometimes. You get exactly what you want at a greatly reduced price, but sometimes you get something that you otherwise wouldn't have picked from the menu. I ordered a surprise bag from a barbecue place that I was picking up on the way home yesterday. I texted my girlfriend asking if she wanted one, but she said no. She wasn't in the mood for barbecue. However, there was an Indian restaurant right next door that also had surprise bags available on the app, so she ordered one of them. The barbecue was $12 and the Indian food was $10. When I get home, I unpack the meals to see what we got. I was psyched about my bag. Since I paid $12, I knew the value had to be at least $36, but honestly, the platter looked a lot more expensive. This was a hit. Keep in mind that we live in the West Village, which is the most expensive neighborhood in the most expensive city in the US. So $36 for one meal is pretty typical. There were burnt ends, ribs, pulled pork, baked beans, potato salad, bread, onions, and pickles. My girlfriend, however, was less lucky. Her surprise bag only had 6 different types of soup, half of them being variations on cauliflower soup. She was disappointed, to say the least. She asked if we should share my barbecue, and I said no. I'm hungry. I offered to buy you some already, and you said no, so I'm going to devour it. She got mad and called me the jerk. I told her if she didn't want soup, she should have ordered something specifically instead of using the surprise bag app. I then told her to just order something off a food delivery app. She said she didn't want to spend the money. Another bit of context is, I make a lot more money than her and pay all of our rent. I know she's running a bit of a lean financial picture right now. I then tell her that if she doesn't want to pay for delivery, I'll walk to the bodega on our street and can buy her something there. Another bit of context is that we live on a 4th floor walk-up with no elevator, and she broke her leg in a car accident a month ago, so it can be tough for her to get around. She says the grill is probably off there and all she wants is a hot meal. I tell her she has soup. Anyway, she thinks I'm the jerk, but in my defense, I offered to buy her barbecue to begin with, which she declined. She picked out her own food and I grabbed it for her on my way home. When she wasn't satisfied, I suggested 2 solutions: either ordering something from an app or going to a bodega. So, am I the jerk?
Story number 2. Am I the jerk for dropping our dinner on the ground and walking out when my boyfriend asked me what's for dinner tonight? Bichi. I was over my boyfriend's apartment this weekend and I was cooking dinner because he was studying for exams. I made pasta and a chunky sauce with meatballs and veggies. I told him dinner was ready and he goes, "What's for dinner tonight, Bichi?" with like a lot of emphasis on the last word. I was fed up. I'd had a pretty rough day with work, and I have some awfully bad associations with that word being used by other people in my life who were pretty abusive. So I was so irritated that I dropped the pot of pasta sauce I'd been carrying right on the ground and was like, "Well, nothing's for dinner tonight now, and I better not hear you using that word again. It's for the girls." He was freaking out about how sauce had landed on his rug, and he even said, "You're seriously acting like a bichi right now." I didn't know what else to call it. I just walked out and got takeout for myself and went to my friend's house. She thought it was funny, but my boyfriend was furious. He kept texting and calling and sending me voice memos trying to explain that saying "what's for dinner tonight, bichi" was a TikTok trend, and that he was just quoting something as a joke to put on TikTok. I thought that was the shittiest excuse ever. It doesn't matter if he saw it as a joke or stole the joke. It was still disrespectful, but it didn't change the fact he thought that shit was funny to demean me when I was trying to do him a favor. Like hell, I came over when he was studying to make a home-cooked dinner, and he decides it's time for jokes. So I put my phone on don't disturb for the night and split a bottle of wine with my friend and her roommate. The next morning he was sending me angry texts demanding I clean his rug because he was too busy with exams to do it. I was shocked he left it overnight. That's disgusting. I texted him back saying, yeah, though that's the beach tax, honey. Leave me alone till you're ready to handle your own cooking and cleaning because this beach isn't anymore. Also, it's vile you left that soaking in all night. He called me and told me that he was okay with doing his own household work, but I did throw a full pot of sauce at the ground, so that's on me to clean up. I told him, yeah, no, I'm not comfortable doing chores for you if you see me like your bichi. He told me he didn't and it was just a trend, and I got pissed off he was playing that TikTok trend BS excuse again, and I told him, well, I'm starting a trend called saucing, whereas a little joke people throw pasta sauce around. You can't be mad because it's just a little trend, a little jokey joke. Just a little prank, bro. He got really pissed off and hung up on me, and now I'm seriously wondering if this dumb fucking TikTok joke is gonna be the end of things between us. So, am I the jerk for how I reacted when my boyfriend asked me what's for dinner tonight? Bichi. Honestly, if someone has gotten to the age of 30 and not realized that women as a whole do not like having demeaning slurs used against them, they're beyond my help. This isn't something that needs to be told. I shouldn't have to go through life like, hey man, just in case you were thinking I might like demeaning slurs against my gender used on me, I don't actually.
Story number 3. Am I the jerk for angrily telling my girlfriend to please stop eating? My 26-year-old sister, 23-year-old, runs a bakery business, and she's been struggling lately to keep up with orders because she's been short-staffed. She does a lot of orders for wedding cakes that require custard or marmalade fillings, and I offered to help her out by making these fillings at home and bringing them to her so she has less work to do. Unfortunately, the past 4 times I've made these fillings, my girlfriend, 24-year-old, has literally dipped her fingers into the filling jars and contaminated them because, in her words, she just wanted to try some. I've tried explaining to her that she can't dip her fingers in and contaminate the entire batch because then I have to remake it. I said she should use a spoon and take some out if she wants to try so bad, but she just pouts and says that she likes using her fingers because it takes her back to her childhood. Today, I was trying to finish some chocolate custard to send it over to my sister really fast because she was running late on a wedding cake order for an important client. I told my girlfriend beforehand to not eat the custard, and if she really wanted to please use a spoon. I get out of the shower, and what do I see? She has her fingers in it again. I totally lost it because this is the 5th time she blatantly disregarded what I said, and I yelled at her and told her to please stop eating the food I'm making because it's not for her and she's contaminating it. She started crying and got mad at me for fat shaming her even though I made no comment on her weight and she has no history of weight issues or eating disorders. I know I was harsh, but she kept pushing my limits. So, am I the jerk? Story number 4. Am I the jerk for getting my daughter a hotel room entirely for herself after her stepsisters made her sleep on the floor? My dad passed away 2 weeks ago. Me, my wife Candace, and my daughter, 16, Shiloh, and her stepsisters, 19 and 17, flew to my hometown to attend the funeral. After that, we got 2 hotel rooms, one for me and Candace, one for the girls. While I was in the room, I got a call from Shiloh at 11 p.m. crying and sounded like she was arguing with her stepsisters. I asked what the matter was, and she told me that her stepsisters insisted that she sleep on the floor. There were 1 large bed in the room, and there was enough space for all 3 girls to sleep on. I asked why, and she said she didn't know. I went to see what the issue was and talked with my stepdaughters about it. They kept talking but didn't really explain why they told her to sleep on the floor. They just shrugged and said it's better this way, we're more comfortable this way. I told Shiloh to grab her things, and when one of my stepdaughters asked where we were going, I told her I was booking her a hotel room. Both looked upset but didn't say anything, but they must have called their mom because she was awake when I got back and started arguing with me about giving Shiloh an entire hotel room for herself. I explained why I did it, but she said I wasted money and that Shiloh could have sucked it up for one night on the floor. I called her unreasonable for saying this, but she told me I showed the girls that I'm playing favorites and made my stepdaughters share a room while I gave my daughter an entire room for herself. We went home and Candace is still bringing it up, saying I mishandled this. She even pointed out how my stepdaughters are upset since they're not speaking to me. ETA, it was Candace who got a room for the 3 girls as to not stir any drama and save money. She was in charge of hotel reservations since I was emotionally distressed. Also, Candace did not expect Shiloh to sleep on the floor. She wanted all 3 girls to share the bed. ETA too, for those that are calling me Anne for giving my daughter her name. Her mom did that and she's deceased, so please, let's not focus on that. And also, I've known my stepdaughters since they were little. We're pretty much family, and Candace is a Sam, but I give her full access to my money. Since this stuff was already discussed before handed, pretty much everything was.
Story number 5. Am I the jerk for calling my mom when my husband refused to listen to me?
I, 26-year-old, recently moved into my first home. I am also 4 months pregnant with our first baby. The pregnancy has been very hard. I have horrible morning sickness. It reached a really bad point where I passed out, hit my head, and my doctor admitted me to the hospital for a week. When I got home, my husband allowed his brother's family to move into 2 of our 3 bedrooms. They were evicted, I don't know why. One room was my office was tossed into. Our room, papers everywhere. The house was a complete wreck. Trash, dirty clothes, used diapers. I started to cry. It was like a light flip. My husband was no longer the same. My husband told me it wasn't that bad. My reply was, fine, then you should have the house cleaned up before I wake up. Completely exhausted, I fell asleep for 4 hours. I woke up and went to get a drink of water. I couldn't. Every glass we own is scattered around the house. They didn't clean a single thing. I passive-aggressively started to pick up the dirty dishes and wash them. The following morning, I was trying my best to work when their kids were crying non-stop, banging on the walls, so on. Their mum was in her room for hours ignoring them. When my husband came home, he was upset with me over how I didn't make his brother's wife feel welcome in our home by helping with their kids when she was tired. Then continued to complain how nothing was done while he was at work all day in the house. Yet the same one he didn't clean. That led to a fight where I told him I'm too sick to have company and they need to leave, to which he replied they are his family and he won't kick them out. I started to cry again. I was beyond frustrated, exhausted. I physically couldn't do it anymore. I called my mum asking if I could come stay with her, telling her the whole story in front of my husband, who at this point was completely shocked, angry. Also, I could tell he wasn't sure what to do. My mum came with my brothers. I have 3 older brothers. My mum, super angry, told my husband, since your family can stay, so can we. My mum quickly took charge. I was sent to bed. My brothers started cleaning, complaining loudly at how disgusting my Bill family is, along with what a horrible husband my husband is for putting me through this while I am sick. I got a text message from my mill for calling me and for not helping my husband clean up the house, and putting my Bill in an uncomfortable position by having my mum boss him around. Edited to add update. When my mill showed up, she was super angry outside. I could hear shouting but couldn't understand what was said. Once inside, she was shocked. My house looked really bad. My Bill lied to her about what happened. My mill quickly started to help my mum in the bossing mode. My house is not just cleaned but deep cleaned. My Bill and his kids are now staying with Mill. She didn't know about the eviction. My in-laws helped them financially a couple of months ago. My Mill was not happy about it. SIL refused to come out of the bedroom. She would scream through the door. But that was about it until her family came to pick her up. Last little bit, I did talk to my husband. He seemed very remorseful. I asked for some space. He is staying at a hotel. He asked to come by and talk to me tonight. My mum and dad are here. Both mums. Felt like I should have someone here since I am sick. Both mums have set up a meal plan where they trade off who will bring in dinner. It was my Mill idea. Thank you for all your advice. I truly appreciate it. Talk with husband. Summed up since it lasted 4 hours. It was a hard talk. He is remorseful. Bill was only supposed to stay for a couple of nights, then leave. Originally he thought they would be gone before I got home. He said he is tired and emotionally upset himself when I originally passed out. My husband left to help a friend move. He came home and found me. He said he has no idea how long I was on the floor hurt. He was originally scared I had died. Since then he has had nightmares, on top of dealing with his family drama. He admitted to dumping his frustration onto me, when it's not my fault. He begged me for another chance. The next steps, we are still separated. He plans on staying at my brother's house in his casita. We are going to go to marriage counseling and individual counseling. He asked if he could come when the home health nurse comes each night and to my appointments. I agreed to that. Update on Bill. His wife admitted to having an affair. She told him she got married too soon and doesn't want the responsibilities of being a mum anymore. I am not sure what will happen with him and his kids, but I am shocked that she feels this way, especially with her kids. So, am I the jerk?
For refusing to tell my husband the gender of our baby after he skipped going to the DR appointment with me? Story number 6. Am I the jerk? My husband and I are expecting. This is our first baby and we're excited. Thing is, he barely attends any DR appointments with me and his excuses aren't even valid. He's willing to miss the DR appointment over soccer or a drink or board game with friends. His response is always, "I'm not the one carrying the baby. Why do I have to go see the DR with you?" Last week was my final straw. He was supposed to come with me for the baby's gender reveal appointment, but he chose to not come last minute because his friend invited him to fish and chips meal. I was pretty livid but didn't make a fuss about it. Mom went with me instead. He texted asking me to tell him the results, boy or girl, but I refused to tell him. He kept spam calling me, but I hung up each time. He came home fuming, demanding I tell him the results, but I refused and bluntly told him, since he refused to attend the appointment, then he gets no results till after the baby's born, and said I was willing to die on this hill. He went off calling me spiteful and immature for doing this and punishing him. He said he's the father and has the right to know. He then called me dramatic since I wasn't alone and mom was with me. I said he gets no results, period. He's been fuming about it and told his family, and they're now pressuring me to stop playing mind games with him and tell him, but I declined. So, am I the jerk? Edit or update. Hi. So, first of all, wow, I did not expect this to blow up. Sorry, can't answer any comments because of feeling overwhelmed. I just wanted to mention that my husband just attempted to contact my DR to get the results. It didn't go well and we had another argument over it. He couldn't get it since his mom was the one who made the call.
Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below.